नमस्कार, फिर पैसा बोलता है में आपका स्वागत है। मैं आनंद श्रीनिवासन। आज मार्केट खुला है क्योंकि 22 जनवरी को पब्लिक हॉलिडे बना दिया गया है और आज किसी नाम से मार्केट खुला है सैटरडे। मार्केट में बड़ा न्यूज़ नहीं है, 55 पॉइंट ऊपर था जब मैं देख रहा था। HUL में रिजल्ट उतना अच्छा नहीं था और 3% गिर गया सुबह मार्केट में। रिलायंस का रिजल्ट भी उतना अच्छा नहीं था। कोर बिजनेस में कुछ धीमी आ गई है, फिर भी 11% प्रॉफिट की ऊपर है। सोनी जी मर्जर में प्रॉब्लम्स है। CEO के बारे में कोई डिस्प्यूट्स है, अभी कोई डिसीजन नहीं आया है। ड्यू डेट आकर चला गया और जी ने टाइम मांगा है, लेकिन सोनी ने कोई कमेंट नहीं की है। तो लगता है कि वो फॉल थ्रू हो गया है, वो जाएगा, प्रोसीड नहीं होगा। तो यही मार्केट में न्यूज़ है। तो हमें देखना चाहिए कि मार्केट बहुत एक्सपेंसिव है और इसमें पॉकेट्स ऑफ वैल्यू में ही इन्वेस्ट करना पड़ेगा। वो पॉकेट्स ऑफ वैल्यू बहुत कम है एंड फार बिटवीन ईच अदर। तो हमें देख के संभाल के काम करना चाहिए। मेरा ये मानना है अगले साल में सोने का दाम 15-20% जाएगा ऊपर, तो लगभग 7,200 तक जा सकती है। और वैसे कब अनेक बार मैंने बोल चुका हूँ, जो गोल्ड ट्रेड में पॉकेट्स ऑफ वैल्यू हैं उसमें ही इन्वेस्टमेंट कर सकते हैं। मार्केट्स इरेशनल है, हमें पता नहीं क्यों मार्केट्स ऊपर जा रहे हैं, नीचे आ रही हैं। मार्केट्स की खुद की एक माइंड है, तो हमको उससे हटकर काम करना चाहिए। आज और कल मैं अपने भाई के साथ हॉट टेक्स्ट करूँगा, वो सवाल पूछेंगे, मैं उसका जवाब अंग्रेजी में दूंगा। देखते हैं क्या लाया है मेरे भाई ने।
SEBI to crack down on IPO mules. Check AIF's misuse.
See, basically what is happening is that people are using the alternative investment funds, pumping up the IPO by subscribing to it and pushing up the price of stock.
Correct.
And then dumping it. And this is a age-old practice. In every bull market this happens. The regulator cannot do much. People have to get their hands burnt. And once they burn their hands, it takes a long time for
people who burnt their hands
to come back into the market.
Yes.
I still know people who have burnt their markets in her hands in Harshad Mehta. This happens every 5 days.
They become very cynical, yeah.
They become cynical. And it's a high time that next batch of sacrificial goats is sacrificed so that they in turn become
the new cynics will come.
The new cynics will come.
New NBFC to ease credit for infra projects on the card.
Says government is going big on infrastructure.
Yes.
And infrastructure funding is very difficult. And therefore, the government is hungry for credit. And so they are trying to start a new NBFC to fund infrastructure. IDFC started like this, but then finally has become a retail bank. So to fund infrastructure, you need long-term capital. And that capital is very difficult to find in equity, will come only in debt.
So is this proper news, good news, Anand? Adani Group freeing pledged shares?
We do not know. It's a very opaque share.
Yes.
But if it is true, it will free up some of the pledged shares. When the prices of the stocks drop, these stocks will not be sold. But I do not have the full picture and I cannot comment on that.
And Air India is going from strength to strength. Air India is going to launch a A350 on international route soon.
Air India will, because luckily for Air India, that Boeing 747 MAX is hurting Indigo.
Yes.
And these guys luckily...
And even Boeing as such is being hurt by its own faults.
Yeah. And except some in Air India Express. Air India does not have too much of 747 MAX. Whereas Akasha and Indigo have that with Pratt & Whitney engines. And so while Air India gets more time to get more aircrafts in to compete with Indigo.
Government pegs gross borrowing between 15.1 to 15.3 lakh crores. What do you think about that?
See, the government actually always slightly borrows more than what it says it could. BVR Subramaniam says that this federal budget is labor-layered. So the government borrowing is not only what the government borrows, what it asks its other entities to borrow on its behalf, like public sector banks and public sector entities. So it is what is called as off-balance sheet borrowing. So a true picture will emerge of how much deficit is there when you get when off-balance sheet borrowings are also added.
Added, okay.
Then you will find that the borrowings of the state and central government is far higher than the actual figures. What this will do is, this will mean that over a longer period of time, as it has happened in the last 10 years, the value of the rupee will go down and the value of gold will increase. So this is the reason why the price of gold in India will go up faster than it does in developed markets. And you will find that the rupee's value will drop, the value of gold will go up over a period of time.
Speaking of gold and all that, Rolls-Royce launches the Spectre, Anand, first electric version at 7.5 crores.
How many people can afford to buy a car at 7.5 crores?
I have no clue, man, because the K-shaped recovery, people who are floating and top of froth, I do not know.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll sell 1 or 2 cars?
Maybe a dozen.
Tata Steel, UK, to shut 2 blast furnaces, about 2,800 jobs at risk.
Which is expected because Europe is going behind green steel. And there is a commodity boom. The commodity deflation because China's economy is slowing down. And there is excess capacity for steel in China. And so China is flooding the world market in steel. So the prices of steel will continue to drop. And it's at the level at which prices are, it does not make sense for Tatas to make steel in Europe. And they want to cut the cost. They have been discussing with the British government converting this blast furnace into an electric arc furnace, which means scrap and recycled steel can be manufactured. When a blast furnace becomes an electric arc furnace, it requires far lesser jobs and definitely 2,800 jobs, especially middle-aged white men will lose their jobs. This will be formally announced. But there was a meeting in Taj, London with the union representatives. There those guys were given the good news. नमस्कार, मैं आनंद श्रीनिवासन। त्रिवेंद्रम के इवेंट के पास किधर इवेंट होस्ट करेंगे इसके बारे में बहुत चर्चा हुआ। मेरे टीम ने डिसाइड किया कि अगला इवेंट दुबई में किया जाए। तो एमिरेट्स, यूनाइटेड अरब एमिरेट्स में जो रहते हैं और मुझे मिलने के इच्छुक हैं, वो दुबई में 24 फरवरी आके मुझे मिल सकते हैं। तो अगला इवेंट मेरा दुबई सिटी में 24 फरवरी 3:30 से 5 बजे होगा। जो मुझे मिलने के लिए इच्छुक हैं वो इवेंट में आ सकते हैं। डिटेल्स के लिए नीचे दिए गए व्हाट्सएप नंबर में संपर्क करें या जो ईमेल आपको दिया गया नीचे उसमें मेल लिखें, मेरा टीम आपसे संपर्क करेगा। नमस्कार, धन्यवाद, जय हिंद।